You have been trained to believe that believing you are the best is dangerous. That confidence is arrogance. That acting as if no one is better than you makes you blind, foolish, or immoral. This belief feels mature. It feels intelligent. But it is a psychological trap, a quiet one. And it has cost you more than you realize. Because while you hesitate, while you doubt, while you wait to feel worthy, the world moves forward led by people who never asked if they deserve to believe in themselves. Look at your life honestly. The pause before you speak your truth. The way your energy drops when someone confident enters the room. The habit of assuming others are smarter, stronger, more qualified. You call it humility. But humility without self-respect becomes self-erasure. And self-erasure slowly turns into resentment, regret, and a life lived beneath your potential. You were not born like this. Watch a child stand. They don't apologize for their presence. They don't lower their voice to make others comfortable. They try. They fail. They try again. Doubt is taught carefully, through correction, through shame, through a system that rewards obedience more than excellence. Over time, you learn that standing tall is risky, that confidence must be justified, that believing you are the best requires permission. And one day, you stop asking what you want and start asking what is allowed. From the moment you enter any room, a silent hierarchy forms. No one admits it, but everyone feels it. Who leads? Who waits? Who speaks freely? Who seeks approval? You think intelligence decides this? It doesn't. You think morality decides this? It doesn't. Certainty does. Perception does. And perception is shaped in seconds by how you carry yourself. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology. He observed that people judge far more by appearances than by truth because everyone can see you, but few can truly know you. Acting as if you are the best is not lying. It is understanding human nature. People follow confidence before they follow evidence. And once momentum exists, evidence often comes later. But here is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Your fear of appearing arrogant is actually fear of responsibility. Acting as if you are the best removes your hiding places. It forces you to live up to the standard you project. That is terrifying, because now failure becomes personal. So most people choose safety instead. They hide behind modesty. They shrink behind realism. And they tell themselves they are being wise, when in reality they are being afraid. The Stoics warned about this. Epictetus said that if you surrender your judgment to others, you surrender your freedom. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that a person who fears criticism more than stagnation will never act boldly. Acting as if you are the best is not ego. It is sovereignty over your own mind. Watch how people treat those who believe they belong. They don't rush. They don't over-explain. They don't beg to be heard. They move as if space already exists for them. And others respond instinctively. Respect is not requested. It is sensed. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we still haven't touched. Most people are not rejected by the world. They reject themselves first. They walk into life already defeated, already apologizing, already assuming they are behind. And the world simply mirrors that assumption back to them. This is not cruelty. It is efficiency. Reality responds to clarity, not potential. Jim Rohn said you don't get paid for what you know. You get paid for what you do with what you know. Acting as if you are the best turns knowledge into motion. It forces decision. And decision is rare. Most people delay their lives waiting to feel ready. But readiness is a myth. Confidence does not come before action. Action creates confidence. Every time you hesitate, you reinforce the identity of someone who doubts. Every time you act decisively, even imperfectly, you rewrite your self-image. Identity is not discovered. It is built through repeated behavior. But understand this clearly. When you stop shrinking, resistance appears. People who benefited from your silence will feel uncomfortable. They will say you've changed. They will accuse you of ego. This is predictable. Machiavelli warned that anyone who challenges an existing order becomes a threat to those who thrived under it. Resistance is not a sign to retreat. It is proof that you are no longer invisible. There is a darker psychological layer beneath all of this. Humans are drawn to certainty because uncertainty creates anxiety. When you act as if you are the best, you become psychologically stabilizing. People defer. They project leadership onto you. Not because you demanded it, but because you removed doubt from the equation. But there is still a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Most people secretly want to be led. They want someone else to decide, someone else to take the risk. When capable people refuse this role out of fear of appearing arrogant, less capable people fill the vacuum. History proves this again and again. Societies led by confidence instead of wisdom. Organizations ruled by loud voices instead of clear minds. Acting as if you're the best is not domination. It is responsibility. If you see clearly and remain silent, chaos leads instead. And chaos does not care about fairness or morality. Here is the paradox most people miss. True confidence creates humility. When your worth is not fragile, you do not need to prove anything. Ego is loud because it is insecure. Power is quiet because it is grounded. Acting as if you are the best does not make you blind. It makes you stable. You still learn. You still listen. You still improve. But you do so from strength, not inferiority. You accept correction without collapse. You fail without identity death. You succeed without arrogance. Here is the final truth, the most dangerous one. You are always acting as if something is true, acting as if you are less, acting as if others are better, acting as if your voice is optional. These are philosophies in motion. Acting as if you are the best is simply choosing a philosophy that expands rather than contracts you. Jim Rohn never said you are the best because you are perfect. He implied you must act that way because potential demands expression. A seed does not apologize for becoming a tree. It grows or it rots. There is no neutral state, so the next time you enter a room, do not scan for approval. Stand as if you belong, because you do. Speak as if your words shape reality, because they do. Decide as if your judgment matters, because it does. Let others challenge you. Let life test you. You will refine yourself through action, not hesitation. You have already crossed the most difficult point, the moment you stop asking for permission. Now the real transformation begins, because acting as if you are the best does not end with confidence. It begins with responsibility. And responsibility is where most people collapse. Not because it is heavy, but because it is lonely. When you stop shrinking, you stop blending in. When you stop blending in, you are seen. And being seen means being judged. This is why most people retreat the moment they feel resistance. They confuse discomfort with danger. But discomfort is not a warning sign. It is a signal that you are stepping beyond the boundaries of your old identity. Look at history. Every individual who changed the direction of their life or the world was first misunderstood. Not because they were wrong, but because they no longer fit into the expectations of others. Acting as if you are the best removes you from the comfort of being average. And average is where society keeps you manageable. Jim Rohn warned that you cannot grow and stay comfortable at the same time. Acting as if you are the best forces growth. It demands discipline. You can no longer blame circumstances. You can no longer hide behind excuses. Your results now reflect your standards. That pressure is why many people abandon confidence and return to humility as hiding. But here is a deeper, more dangerous truth we still haven't touched. Once you act as if you are the best, people begin projecting their fears onto you. Your confidence becomes a mirror. It reflects their hesitation, their regret, their unrealized potential. And instead of facing that reflection, many will try to break the mirror. They will criticize. They will mock. They will minimize. Not because you are wrong, but because your existence disrupts their comfort. This is where stoicism becomes essential. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you must be indifferent to both praise and blame. If praise inflates you, you become fragile. If blame destroys you, you become controllable. Acting as if you are the best requires emotional discipline. You must remain centered regardless of external noise. Watch powerful people closely. They are not reactive. They do not explain themselves to everyone. They do not rush to defend their image. Silence, when combined with certainty, becomes intimidating. Not because it is aggressive, but because it cannot be easily manipulated. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we still haven't touched. Most people mistake confidence for aggression. In reality, aggression comes from insecurity. When you truly act as if you are the best, your behavior becomes calm, measured, precise. You no longer need to dominate conversations. You no longer need to prove intelligence. Your presence alone communicates authority. This is why quiet confidence unsettles people more than loud arrogance. Loudness can be ignored. Calm certainly cannot. It forces others to adjust. Acting as if you are the best also changes how you experience failure. Failure no longer destroys you. It informs you. When your identity is weak, failure feels like proof that you were never good enough. When your identity is strong, failure becomes data, feedback. Direction. Jim Rohn said that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process. Acting as if you are the best allows you to fail forward instead of collapsing backward. You refine, you correct, you continue. But here is the most dangerous truth of all. The world does not reward potential. It rewards demonstrated belief. People will invest in you only after you invest in yourself. They will trust your judgment only after you trust it first. They will follow your lead only after you stop asking to be led. Acting as if you are the best rewires how you make decisions. You stop asking, what if I'm wrong? And start asking, what is required now? That shift alone separates leaders from followers. Leaders move under uncertainty. Followers wait for clarity that never comes. There is a reason Jim Rohn emphasized personal philosophy. Philosophy is not theory. It is the lens through which you interpret reality. If your philosophy says you are small, life will keep you small. If your philosophy says you are capable, life will test that belief until it becomes true. Here is the final paradox. When you truly act as if you are the best, you stop competing. You no longer measure yourself against others. Comparison fades. Envy disappears. You are too focused on execution, too focused on alignment, too focused on becoming. A tree does not compete with other trees. It grows according to its nature. And that is exactly what acting as if you are the best really means, aligning your behavior with your highest potential instead of your deepest fear. So when you walk into the world tomorrow, do not shrink. Do not apologize. Do not wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. Stand as if you belong. Speak as if your voice carries weight. Decide as if your judgment matters, because it does. And when the world pushes back, remember this. Pressure is not punishment. It is proof that you are expanding. You were trained to fear confidence. You were trained to confuse humility with weakness. At this stage, something irreversible happens. Once you have acted as if you are the best for long enough, you can no longer return to who you were before. Not because you became arrogant, but because you became aware. Awareness destroys excuses. And excuses were the last place your old identity could hide. You start noticing how often people live beneath themselves, how often they complain instead of decide, how often they wait instead of move. And the most uncomfortable realization is this: you used to be one of them. Not because you were weak, but because you were unconscious. Acting as if you are the best wakes you up. And waking up is painful because now you see clearly. You see how much time was wasted seeking approval, how many opportunities were missed waiting to feel confident, how many decisions were delayed out of fear of judgment. This awareness can either break you with regret or sharpen you with urgency. Most people choose denial. You cannot. Not anymore. Jim Rohn said that we all suffer from one of two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Acting as if you are the best commits you to discipline, discipline of thought, discipline of action, discipline of standards. You can no longer lie to yourself about effort. You can no longer pretend that average behavior deserves exceptional results. This is where most people quit. Not because the path is too hard, but because it is too honest. When you act as if you are the best, life stops negotiating with you. It reflects exactly who you are becoming. Your results improve or expose you. And exposure feels threatening to anyone still emotionally attached to comfort. But here is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Once you stop needing validation, people lose control over you. Approval is the currency of manipulation. When you no longer seek it, you become unpredictable, harder to guilt, harder to pressure, harder to shame. And this is why truly self-directed individuals are often labeled cold, distant, or intense. Not because they lack empathy, but because they lack dependency. Stoicism warned about this. Seneca wrote that a person who depends on the crowd for peace will never be at peace. Acting as if you are the best breaks your addiction to applause. You begin to operate internally. You approve yourself first, and that terrifies systems built on obedience. You will notice something else changing. Your tolerance for nonsense drops. You stop entertaining drama. You stop explaining yourself repeatedly. You stop negotiating boundaries. This is not because you became harsh. It is because clarity replaced confusion. And clarity always looks aggressive to those who thrive in chaos. But there is an even deeper, more dangerous truth. Once you act as if you are the best, mediocrity becomes physically uncomfortable. Lazy conversations drain you. Aimless routines irritate you. Complaints without action feel insulting. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. You can no longer pretend to be small without feeling internal resistance. Jim Rohn said you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Acting as if you are the best forces separation, not always physically, but psychologically. You stop sensing your energy with people who refuse to grow. And this creates loneliness. Not social loneliness, but existential loneliness. The loneliness of moving ahead while others stay behind. This loneliness is not a flaw, it is a filter. It removes distractions, it sharpens focus, it forces you inward. And inward is where real power is built. At this stage, confidence becomes quiet. You no longer announce your intentions. You execute. You let results speak. You let time reveal. Acting as if you are the best no longer feels like a mindset. It feels like default behavior. You stand straight without thinking. You decide faster without forcing it. You say no without guilt. And here is the paradox. The less you try to dominate, the more authority you carry. The less you seek attention, the more attention follows. The less you chase respect, the more it appears. This is the difference between ego and grounded power. But there is one final truth, the most dangerous one. Acting as if you are the best is not about believing you are superior to others. It is about refusing to live beneath your own standards. Superiority compares. Mastery commits. You stop asking, am I better than them? And start asking, am I aligned with who I could be? This is why Jim Rohn emphasized responsibility over motivation. Motivation fades. Responsibility remains. Acting as if you are the best is choosing responsibility for your mind, your habits, your future, even when no one is watching. Most people live as if life will forgive delay. It will not. Time rewards movement, not intention. Acting as if you are the best collapses delay. You act now. You adjust later. You move forward under uncertainty. So when you wake up tomorrow, remember this. You no longer have the luxury of playing small. You have seen too much. You understand too clearly. Shrinking now would not be humility. It would be betrayal. Stand firm. Move deliberately. Speak when necessary. Stay silent when powerful. Let your discipline make noise so your mouth doesn't have to.